الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين अल्लाह ताला के फजल से अगले जुमे से इंशाअल्लाह जलसा सालाना यूके शुरू हो रहा है। जलसा शुरू होने से बहुत पहले जलसे का काम शुरू हो जाता है। यूके का जलसा सालाना
UK Jalsa Salana will begin. Well before the Jalsa Salana starts, work and arrangements for the Jalsa commences.
एक आरज़ी शहरी बना दिया जाता है। पाकिस्तान में
The UK Jalsa Salana is such where temporary arrangements are made for a few days and thus a short-term city in itself is formed.
कई लंगर थे। इसी तरह
When the Jalsa Salanas were held in Pakistan, there were permanent arrangements for the Langar Khana, for the large kitchen and other facilities. There were many Langar Khanas or kitchens.
जब स्कूल और कॉलेज
Similarly, to a large degree, there were permanent accommodation facilities which had been made.
तो फिर दूसरी रिहाइशगाहें बन गई।
When previously the schools and colleges belonged to us, they were used as accommodation facilities. However, when the government took over them, then other accommodation facilities were made.
इसके अलावा रवा के मकीन
Although, due to there being such large numbers, temporary accommodation was also arranged for, such as tents, etc.
उनका खाना वगैरह
In addition, the residents of Rabwa accommodated a very large number of the guests within their own homes.
रवा के जलसे के बाद मुस्तकिल इंतजाम
Food, etc. would come from the Langar Khana to wherever they were staying.
अलावा मुस्तकिल इंतजामी ढांचे के
In any case, in the Rabwa Jalsa Salana arrangements, there were permanent facilities available. And after a long experience, apart from a permanent administrative structure, the residents of Rabwa had also become experts in making the arrangements. May Allah the Almighty enable this special spiritual atmosphere and this passion for service to become a part of their lives once again.
अब ज्यादा जलसा का
Similarly, in Qadian, there are now many permanent arrangements that have been made.
बेशक
In terms of the temporary arrangements, it mainly relates to the Jalsa Gah. In fact, it is only the Jalsa Gah which requires short-term arrangements.
खाने पकवाई के लिए रोटी पकवाने के लिए
It indeed may be the case that there are non-Ahmadis who have to be employed for the labor, etc., to prepare the food and to prepare the roti or the bread. Those preparing these items have to be brought from outside. However, even there are permanent arrangements for the Langar Khana, for the kitchen. In Germany also, there are many permanent arrangements that are present as a result of a hall being available to us. There are food arrangements, and there is the roti or the bread which is obtained from the market. They eat it considering it to be fresh bread. However, I believe that perhaps it is also 1 week old. In any case, if this is not the case, then those in Germany are very quick in notifying the message. By the evening, they would have informed me. This is also the state of the other jalsas around the world. However, the jalsa here in Britain, which as a result of the Khalifa being present here, has taken the shape of the international jalsa. Until last year, from A to Z, all the arrangements were temporary or short-term arrangements. When the jalsas were previously held in Islamabad, there, for the food preparation, there was a permanent arrangement. Similarly, the need to prepare the roti or the bread was to some degree fulfilled by the roti or the bread making machine present there. However, since the jalsas have moved to Hadiqatul Mehdi and are being held there, for the last 2-3 years anyhow, the food also has been prepared in a temporary langar khana or kitchen. For the experience was that it was difficult and inconvenient to bring the food from Islamabad. The roti or the bread was prepared to some degree from Islamabad, while the rest was obtained from the market. In any case, as a result of this, there was great inconvenience felt. Due to this, here, continuous efforts were made with the council that we should be given permission to make a permanent kitchen in Hadiqatul Mehdi. For, along with the marquees, the temporary kitchen that has to be made is on the one hand inconvenient, whilst on the other hand, in some respects, is also quite dangerous. But in any case, this year, the council favoured us, and we were granted the permission to make a permanent kitchen. Amongst the sheds that were made in Hadiqatul Mehdi for storage, one large shed was in a very good manner being renovated from the outside, prepared into a permanent kitchen. Now, inshallah, as is required, food will be prepared, it is hoped. Then there was a problem of preparing the roti or the bread. When I drew attention towards this, then the organizers here, Amir Sahib and the others, believed that, as was the previous method, the bread could be obtained from the market, or that some of the bread could be prepared and brought from Islamabad. I said to him to install a new roti machine. As a result of the expenditure, he had some reservations. However, when I said that the Markaz, the center, will give you a loan, then some sense of honor developed within him, and then he spent the money. With the grace of the Almighty Allah, a roti or a bread plant was ordered from Lebanon. One of our devout Ahmadi friends from Pakistan went to Lebanon. He purchased this machine, he came here and installed it. He is giving time for this purpose. He also had the experience of installing similar machines in Qadian and Rabwa. Thus, this work was carried out in an excellent manner here also. Now, in terms of the arrangements of a kitchen or a langar khana, in the Jalsa Salana arrangements of Hadiqatul Mehdi, with the grace of the Almighty Allah, now, for the preparation of the roti, of the bread, and also for the preparation of the food, there are permanent arrangements. Nonetheless, we are also thankful to the Council. May Allah the Almighty reward them for giving us permission for this. However, even now, the uniqueness of this Jalsa still remains established, that in comparison to the Jalsas of other countries around the world, there are numerous temporary arrangements that have to be made to facilitate the approximately 30,000 attendees. In particular, when it rains, it becomes a problem for the accommodation and the pathways. With respect to the problem relating to the paths when it rains, To a certain degree, that is resolved through laying tracks.
अभी भी कायम है.
However, in the accommodation there are tents that are erected, or there are small marquees. There is the arrangements for food and also other problems that still
ये
remain.
आदि शहर ही जमात अहमदिया का एक मुस्तकिल शहर बन जाए.
Anyhow, inshallah, God willing, a time will come when these problems also will be resolved. It is not unlikely that this temporary city will inshallah become a permanent city of Jamaat Ahmadiyya.
और बहुत बड़ा काम वो कर रहे हैं.
As I stated, there are temporary arrangements to establish a city.
संसार के अच्छी सेहत वाले लोग करते
A great deal of the organization and work that is involved in these temporary arrangements is carried out through volunteers and Vakari Amal,
उस वक्त भी
both the youth and the Ansar who are of a good health.
लगने के बाद
Last week on Friday, I by chance went to Hadiqatul Mahdi.
बच्चे और बड़े भी अपने कामों के लिए वहाँ पहुंचे हुए थे.
At the time, in addition to those people who were engaged with experimenting with the roti plant after its installation, there were youth, children and elders who were all present there to carry out their respective duties.
यहाँ ये भी वादे कर दूं कि रोटी प्लांट लगाने का काम भी
2 or 3 weeks before the Jalsa, they were making efforts to carry out their work for the Jalsa in an excellent manner.
इंजीनियर्स ने
Here I should also clarify that the work to install the roti plant was not carried out by any outside company. In fact, the entire work was carried out by our volunteers, by our engineers, by our technicians, and by our other workers. May Allah the Almighty also reward all of them.
कि जिस तरह चाहे काम कर लें.
The standards here are such that they are extremely essential to fulfill.
लटकी रह जाएं या बाज़ और असूली
It is not like India and Pakistan, where one can carry out the work however he pleases, and that there is no checking, that there is work carried out temporarily, there are wires hanging out, or that there are other principal points that are not followed. Here, at every point and step, checking is undertaken. The government department comes and inspects, it approves, and then one can carry out the next work.
वो पूरी हो गई और इजाज़त भी मिल गई.
Thus, with the grace of the Almighty Allah, all the requirements and conditions in accordance with their standards for the roti plant and the langar khana, the kitchen and the bread plant, have been fulfilled and they have granted us permission.
बदल से अहमदी
In any case, the point of what is being said, that here, due to temporary arrangements, in comparison to other places, more efforts have to be given. With the grace of the Almighty Allah, Ahmadi volunteers with great passion and dedication carry out these tasks.
अहमदी
This spirit, that it is necessary to give time for the Jamaat, has become a special distinctive feature of an Ahmadi.
डॉक्टर्स की एसोसिएशन है तो वो अपने काम कर रही है. दूसरे मुतफर्रिक शोबे हैं तो उनके लोग अपने
In every matter, Ahmadis give sacrifices. If there is the Engineers Association or the Doctors Association or various other departments, they all give their time for the Jamaat. This is in addition to Jamaat work. They carry out work throughout the entire year. So thus this is a distinctive feature of Jamaat Ahmadiyya, that there is a great deal of volunteer work undertaken.
दुनिया में एक अहम
As a result of training, year upon year, of Ahmadis, service and hospitality for the guests who come for the Jalsa has become the distinctive feature of an Ahmadi.
मुफव्वज़ा फ़राइज़ हैं.
Men, women, young and elders, all during the days of Jalsa are immersed with the passion of service.
कोशिशां होती हैं और होना चाहिए क्योंकि जलसे के मेहमान
Whatever duties are assigned to them or the responsibilities, they discharge them with great dedication and efforts. And this should be the case.
खुल्क भी है और दीन भी.
Because the guests of the Jalsa are in fact the guests of the promised Messiah, on whom be peace.
इस्लाम की मेहमान नवाजी का
So as such, this hospitality of the guests is a high moral quality, but is also a part of the faith.
ऊंची और बेहतर हो.
Here I should also mention what the standard of hospitality of guests of the promised Messiah alayhi salam was.
मेहमान आ गए.
This is so that our standards can increase and elevate. One day the promised Messiah alayhi salam was not well and he was resting.
सोचा
A guest came.
हक होता है.
A message was sent to the promised Messiah alayhi salam, so he came out.
इसलिए मैं इस हक को अदा करने के लिए
The promised Messiah alayhi salam said, I thought that the guest has a right.
यही मायार
The guest has come putting himself into difficulty. So therefore, in order to fulfill this right, I have come outside.
क्योंकि जिन्स
So today also, this same standard of hospitality must be shown for the guests of the promised Messiah alayhi salam.
सफर करके आने वाले मेहमान हैं, इसलिए आ रहे हैं
Because today the opportunity that we have been granted for hospitality is not only for guests, but is in fact for guests who have come for a purely religious purpose. These guests are attending so that during the 3 days of the Jalsa, they can hear about Allah and His Messenger. They are coming for the Jalsa so that they can facilitate and cater for their religious and spiritual training.
मेहमान ऐसे भी हैं
They are attending the Jalsa so that they can establish mutual love, mutual friendship and mutual brotherhood and develop an atmosphere as such.
अपने घरों में रहने वाले
There are many guests who come here bearing great difficulties and suffering.
यहाँ तो दुनियावी आसाइश के लिहाज से
There are some who live in very good standards in their households,
लेकिन फिर
and they come here from these standards.
गरीब मेहमान हैं
Such people come here, and in terms of worldly comforts and ease, relatively speaking, they have to live in quite harsh and difficult circumstances. There are other poor guests who also attend. They place themselves in heavy burdens, and they come from far-off countries only to attain the blessings of the Jalsa.
सुनने के शौक में आते हैं
They come hearkening to the call of the promised Messiah alayhi salam.
ये अहमियत को बहुत करीब
They come to meet the Khalifa of the time and to listen keenly to what he says.
जलसे के माहौल का अपना एक अलग और अलग असर है
Indeed, MTA has brought close the world of Ahmadiyyat.
कौन सी तकलीफ है जो ये मेहमान उठा रहे हैं
However, even then, the environment and ambience of Jalsa has a unique and distinctive impact. So therefore, we should not assume that what difficulty is it that these guests who come here have to bear. There are some who are elders. Despite various ailments, they carry out their journeys and they have to bear suffering.
बस ऐसे मेहमानों का हम
As I said, some leave the comfort and ease of their homes and for the sake of the faith undertake the journey, and they sleep in even marquees and they give preference to simple food. So therefore such guests have a great right upon us.
तो सफर के अखराजात भी
With the grace of the Almighty Allah,
लेकिन खर्च
the majority of guests are those who come only for the sake of attending the Jalsa itself. Now the costs of attending the Jalsa have increased greatly, yet they carry out these expenses, but they are not in the least concerned.
हम पर फर्ज है ये बहुत ही काबिल एहतराम मेहमान हैं जिनकी नीयत अल्लाह और रसूल
So thus to respect and to regard the guests is our obligation. They are most revered and respectable guests,
बहुत से मेहमान आए हैं
those whose intention and motive it is to win the pleasure of Allah and His Messenger. On another occasion, the promised Messiah alayhi salam counseling towards guests stated, "Look, many guests have arrived. Some of them you recognize, but others you do not. So therefore it is appropriate that you should consider all of them worthy of respect and honor and show humility.
बस जो मसीह मौद अलैहिस्सलाम
I have good faith towards you that you will give comfort to all the guests. Serve all of them most profusely." So thus those who are the guests of the promised Messiah alayhi salam and who come here for a religious purpose, whose intention is only to acquire the pleasure of Allah,
और हर मेहमान के लिए
we with great attention and concern need to fulfill and regard the good faith of the promised Messiah alayhi salam in us.
और ये दिल में हमेशा ख्याल
Our
रहे
hearts should be filled with the passion to serve every single guest.
जहाँ जहाँ हमारी ड्यूटियाँ हैं हमने इस हक के अदा करने की कोशिश करनी
We should always have the thought in our heart that the guests have rights.
ताकि हज़रत मसीह
Wherever we have been assigned any duty,
उसने ज़न पर
we must strive to discharge this right. This is the thought that should be in the heart of every duty worker.
और ए
This is so that we can fulfill the good faith and good expectation of the promised Messiah alayhi salam on us. This is so that we can be able to say, O the Messiah of God, and O the true devotee of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we are completely devoted to fulfilling your every advice and guidance even today. Indeed, this is exactly what is expected from every Ahmadi. The journey of over 100 years has not made us negligent of your good faith and expectations of us. Today also, our children, our young, our men and women are all striving to the best of their abilities to fulfill their duties and obligations. Inshallah, God willing, they will go on doing this. We always need to keep this wish and this longing of the promised Messiah alayhi salam in view at all times. And whilst keeping it in view, we will go on making efforts. The promised Messiah alayhi salam says that I always am concerned that no guest should ever be inflicted with any pain or suffering. In fact, I always go on advising that as far as possible the guest should be extended comfort. The promised Messiah alayhi salam says the heart of a guest is like a very delicate glass. By the slightest amount of damage to it, it is broken. So thus this is the most important counsel. We should not just make this pledge with our words. In fact, we should practically display this. Now, jalsas take place in every country of the world, and guests arrive there. However, here, in particular, guests arrive from all parts and countries of the world to attend the jalsa. Every country, every nation, and every people have different standards. Their level of patience is also different. Their manner of conversation and discussions and the expression of their emotions are also different. The expectations of us are also different. Their preferences are also different. So therefore, with great wisdom, there is a need to deal with every single type of persons. For this greatly wise counsel of the promised Messiah should be kept in view at all times. If we keep this in view constantly, then all matters will be resolved and will run smoothly. That the heart of a guest is like a very delicate or fragile glass. Through just slight damage or a jolt, it is broken. If all those who are serving in some capacity firmly abides by this advice, then even the smallest or pettiest matters that arise would not do so apart from a few exceptions, and there would also be no complaints. This is except for if somebody is only purposely trying to cause mischief. There sometimes strict measures must be taken. Last year, an incident took place during the dinner amongst the ladies. A female guest who had come from a very far-off place became upset for the same reason. Whether this was the fault of a worker or not, irrespective, we must admit and accept this. It is only then that we can reform, instead of giving different types of explanations. This time, in the Tabshir guests, both on the men's and women's sides, there is a need to give special attention and care of this, that nobody should be inflicted with any pain or suffering, because these are guests from other countries, who I am relating to. All guests are, of course, deemed as guests. Nonetheless, I have made some changes in this department. These changes are of an administrative nature. There have been changes made in administration. Waqf-e-Nau and Waqfat-e-Nau have been included to a greater degree. Now, with the grace of the Almighty Allah, this is a blessing of Allah upon us, that many Waqf-e-Nau and Waqfat-e-Nau have attained such an age and are now ready that they can take care of the responsibilities. Some are carrying out permanent work for the Jamaat, and some are also helping with temporary arrangements. I am hopeful that the standard this year will be much better. But remember that improvements do not come about by just changing people or by changing faces. In fact, we should pray to Allah the Almighty that the blessings of Allah the Almighty should always remain with us. We should carry out that work And we should be those who carry out the service in such an excellent manner, which Allah the Almighty desires from us. And then beseech Allah the Almighty to be enabled to do this. Pray also that no such occasion arises through which there can be any misunderstanding. With regard to hospitality, I would also like to clarify that the Ahmadis living in England, and especially those Ahmadis living in London, should take care that those who come from outside, in other words, those guests who come from outside the UK, are also their guests. The guests who come from outside is more or less around 3,000 who come. If people attain visas, then perhaps the numbers are more than this. So if the Ahmadis here, whether they have a duty or they do not have a duty, they should be greatly concerned and should take care that every guest who comes from abroad is also their guest. When the guests in the UK, because there are also guests from the UK who will come, who will be guests, because they will not have any duty. When the guests here are in contact with any guests from abroad, then they should consider that every Ahmadi living in the UK is a host, and every Ahmadi coming from abroad is a guest. Or you can consider that if in some special circumstances the guests coming from the UK and the guests who are coming from outside of the UK, there is any question of preference, then the guests who are from abroad should be given first preference, and the guests living in the UK should in any case sacrifice for those coming from abroad.
मेहमान होते हुए भी मेजबान हैं सिर्फ ये ड्यूटी वालों का ही काम नहीं.
Thus always remember that you in some circumstances whilst being a guest are also a host. This is not only the task of the duty workers. In fact, this thought needs to be widened and extended. And whilst widening the scope of this thought, make yourselves into those who give sacrifice. When this happens, we will see a most beautiful society. When we look at some ahadith, then the thought comes into the mind that rather than being a guest, one wishes to remain a host. According to one hadith, hospitality is the sign of a mu'min, a true believer. In one hadith it is mentioned that the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ stated that he who believes in Allah and the last day, he should respect and honor guests. So, in other words, one who does not honor and regard and respect guests is weak in his faith of Allah and the last day. So thus, when the promised Messiah ﷺ has drawn our attention towards hospitality of guests again and again, then he is saying that as a result of the directives and statements of the Holy Prophet and the command of the Holy Quran. It is so that we can develop strength in our faith. Then in another hadith, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, has deemed greeting your brother with a smile as a great act of virtue. So, in these 3 days of Jalsa, various acts of goodness are performed. In addition, it is a great act of righteousness that you should meet one another with a smile on your face. There are different opportunities that arise for this. They will arise for the host and also for the guests. In particular, I will say to those duty workers that they should amongst each other in their discussions and in their conversations, sometimes as a result of exhaustion, people become irritated and touchy. Even then, you should meet others with a smile.
बाज़ दफ़ा ऐसे मौके
The officers or the in charges, they should meet their subordinates with a smile.
मखसूस हैं या बाज़ खाने पीने की चीज़ मखसूस कर दी कहीं जहाँ दफ्तर बनाए गए तो फ्रिज
For the workers, some occasions would previously arise,
वहाँ से पानी भी पी लेता था
where some places were restricted, or some items or food where there are offices, there were fridges, there was certain food or water that were only available for the officers, or if the muawin or subordinate would take from it, they would face anger. So this should never be the case.
हो जाती है काम करते हुए लेकिन हमेशा याद रखें कि हमने खुश अखलाकी को हमेशा अपने सामने
As I stated, various things happen whilst performing duties. There are ups and downs whilst carrying out tasks. However, always remember that we must always keep in view good etiquettes and manners.
तो मेहमानों पर भी इस पूरे माहौल का बहुत अच्छा असर होगा
Indeed, you will come before the guests with good manners and etiquettes. If you also demonstrate good morals and etiquettes amongst one another, then this entire atmosphere would leave a lasting impression and good effect upon the guests, and the atmosphere will become all the more pleasant.
अपनी नेकियों में
And those who are not guests, it would also have a good impression and effect upon
की
them.
रज़ा हासिल करने वाले बन रहे होंगे फिर ये बात याद रखनी चाहिए कि हर ड्यूटी
In the same way, you would be increasing your virtuousness even more so by displaying good manners, and you become those who acquire the pleasure of Allah.
कोई एहसान नहीं है बल्कि जैसा कि हज़रत मसीह मौऊद अलैहिस्सलाम ने
Then we should remember that all those on duty and all the workers should bear in mind that hospitality is no favor on anyone.
यही फरमाया है
In fact, as the promised Messiah alayhi salam has stated,
और अल्लाह ताला
and which has been already mentioned previously,
क्या फरमाता है
that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said
फरमाया
that this is the right of the guest.
हक़्क़हु वल मिस्कीना व इब्न अस्सबील
What does Allah the Almighty say about discharging our rights and obligations?
और क़राबतदार को भी उसका हक दो और मिस्कीन को भी
وَآتِ ذَا الْقُرْبَى حَقَّهُ وَالْمِسْكِينَ وَابْنَ السَّبِيلِ وَلَا تُبَذِّرْ تَبْذِيرًا.
हकूक़ की बात हो रही है
And give thou to the kinsman his due, and to the poor and the wayfarer, and squander not thy wealth extravagantly.
मुसाफिरों की भी कई किस्में हैं
Here the rights of three types of persons are being spoken of. But with respect to the topic of today, I shall draw attention to the right of the one on journey. There are different types of people on journey. However, those who travel in the way of Allah and upon His command, they are the journeymen who are the most fortunate. It is mentioned in one hadith that in a gathering where mention of Allah and His Messenger is being made,
अल्लाह के फजल से
angels send the gifts of peace and prayers upon them.
मजलिसों में शामिल होने के लिए सफर करके आने वालों का मुकाम भी
Our jalsas also, by the grace of the Almighty Allah, are exactly such types of gatherings.
फरिश्ते उनके लिए दुआएं कर रहे हैं
Those who undertake journeys for the purpose of attending jalsa have a very elevated status who come for this purpose,
हक अदा करने वाले
because angels are praying for such people.
अल्लाह ने कायम फरमा दिया
So therefore, fortunate are such persons who serve such journeymen and fulfill the right of hospitality.
ताला की रज़ा को हासिल कर ले
That right which Allah the Almighty has established, most certainly one who discharges that right acquires the pleasure of Allah.
ये जलसे का भी
One who acquires the pleasure of Allah the Almighty, who can be of greater fortune than such a person?
बोलते चले जा रहे हैं
So therefore, if we reflect, we see a wondrous system of this jalsa also, that after one virtue, another door of goodness continuously opens for every single person.
जज्बे से करते भी हैं इसमें मजीद बेहतरी पैदा करने की जरूरत है
So as I stated, the spirit of service needs to be understood and needs to be kept in view by everyone giving the service.
कि चलो हाथ बटा दो
Although people do this, there is a need to better and improve this.
कह दिया है कि वो
Those giving duties should not give duties only because there has been a demand from the Jamaat, that one thinks that let us go just to give a helping hand, or that the Sadr Khudam al-Ahmadiyya has said that there must be Waqarim done and then we should just go for this reason, or that the Lajna Sadr says to come and carry out some work, and that one carries out the work just to join the group. No, this should not be the case. In fact, the purpose should be to acquire the pleasure of Allah.
के हक अदा किए
How did the companions, the Sahaba of the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, discharge hospitality of guests in order to win the pleasure of Allah and fulfill the right of them? In this respect, I shall cite one example. However many times we hear or read this tradition, it gives a new joy or pleasure, or we learn a new lesson. Hazrat Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, states, once a person on journey came to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent a message to send food for the guest. The response came that there is nothing in the home apart from water. Upon this, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said to the companion, "Who will arrange for the food for this guest?" One Ansari said, "I shall make arrangements." Subsequently, he went home and he said to his wife, that make arrangements to host and provide hospitality for the guests of the Prophet. The wife said that today there is only enough food for the children. The Ansari responded, "Well, prepare food and light the lamp. When the time comes for the children to take the food, light the lamp and take the children to bed." Subsequently, the wife prepared the food and lit the lamp and put the children to sleep hungry. And then on the excuse of lighting up the lamp, she got up and put it out. Then they both sat with the guests and pretended to be eating with the guests. So they remained hungry that night. When in the morning the Ansari presented himself before the Holy Prophet ﷺ, he smiled and said, "Even Allah was smiling upon seeing your plan at night," or that Allah was well pleased by your act last night. On this occasion, this verse was revealed. وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ وَمَن يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. But those who prefer the refugees to themselves, even though poverty be their own lot, and whoso is rid of the covetousness of his own soul, it is these who will be successful. Now look, what an immense sacrifice it is to put the children to sleep hungry and to give the food to the guest instead. Today, with the grace of the Almighty Allah, there will hardly be anyone in this condition and state. In particular, for the guests of the Jamaat, there is absolutely no such circumstance or situation. Those guests for whom this family made this sacrifice, they were also Jamaati guests. They were guests who had come for a religious purpose. They were guests who had come before the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and were therefore his guests. By establishing such examples, we have been given the lesson of hospitality. That guest who was a guest of the Holy Prophet ﷺ had a very lofty and elevated status. Today, the guests of the true servant of the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, Allah the Almighty has also given them great importance. So therefore, every duty worker needs to keep this importance before him. It may seem like apparent cruelty that the children were forcibly kept hungry. However, a very lofty example of sacrifice and service has been established, in which the entire family were a part of, some out of happiness and some out of obligation. However, Allah the Almighty would have greatly blessed and rewarded those children, as is evident from the subject of this verse. Allah the Almighty has included such people in Muflihun, those who will be successful. Who are those who will be successful? If we look into the meanings of this, we understand its scope and wideness. Muflih are those people who are successful and bear fruit, those people who are prosperous, those people who acquire the lofty and pious desires. As a result of this, they are those who acquire happiness and every type of good. They are those who permanently remain in a state of this goodness and success. They acquire the comforts and ease of this life and are those who come under protection. So therefore, sacrifice shown at one time and hospitality has made them the recipients of the pleasure of Allah, and look at where it has taken them and to what heights. He who acquires all of this along with the pleasure of Allah, what more would he want? So therefore, you should always remember that this is that status which is given to those who extend hospitality. This is that status which we need to achieve by extending hospitality to the guests. This is that standard and level that inshallah, God willing, will grant us nearness to Allah and will become the means of facilitating and catering for our life in this world and the hereafter. So thus we should always remember that we have been given an opportunity to serve the guests of the promised Messiah. And by doing so, Allah the Almighty is opening up the paths of us to be included amongst the Muflihun. Those who will be successful. May Allah the Almighty enable all those who will serve, all those workers, to attain this blessing. And the arrangements of the Jalsa, may Allah the Almighty infuse ease in them. After the Friday prayer, I will also lead a funeral prayer in Extensia. It is one of our Shaheed martyred brothers, Zuhur Ahmed Saab Kiyani. He was martyred in Orangi town, Karachi on the 21st of August. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Surely to Allah we belong and to Him we shall return. The incident happened as follows. Zuhur Sahib, along with one of his friends, at 11:15, brought his friend to fix one of his cars, which was at some distance. They went to check the car. When he came outside, during this time, one of his neighbors, Nurul Haq Sahib, who was a non-Ahmadi, also came out. All three went to check the car. As I stated, the car was at some distance from the house. When all three were returning after checking the car, then two attackers came on a motorcycle. One came off the motorcycle and started firing openly upon Zuhur Sahib. Upon this, a neighbor of Zuhur Sahib, Anwarul Haq Sahib, he snatched at that person, and through this the other accomplice also started firing on Nurul Haq Sahib and then ran away. When Zuhur Sahib's daughter heard the firing, she looked from the window above. She saw that there were two motorcyclists going away. She was drinking her tea at the window. She threw the cup at the attackers. Upon this, they also started firing upon the window of the home, and there were some bullets upon the window, but the daughter was unhurt and saved. Zuhur Sahib could not survive the injuries and was martyred on the spot. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. At the time of his martyrdom, the martyr was 47 years old. The neighbor, Nurul Haq Sahib, he was also martyred and could not survive his injuries. May Allah the Almighty also grant him forgiveness and mercy. Ahmadiyyat started in Zuhur Sahib's family through his paternal uncle Yusuf Kayani Sahib and also Muhammad Saeed Sahib. Both were enabled to do the Bai'at, the Pledge of Allegiance, in 1936. Both were educated and learned persons. After proper study, they were enabled to carry out the initiation, the Bai'at. Then after this, the father and three other uncles of Zuhur Sahib also entered Ahmadiyyat. The family were linked to Premkot, Muzaffarabad, Kashmir. He was born in 1966, and in 1976 he moved to Karachi. There he was educated to the level of BA. Then he took up employment in the Federal Board of Revenue. Up until the martyrdom, he was employed in the anti-smuggling unit as a clerk or deputy clerk, and he was serving in this capacity. He was extremely compliant with his majlis. He was an extremely friendly person, and he was at the forefront of financial sacrifice. Hospitality was his distinctive feature. He would never leave a guest who came to his home to go without being served with hospitality. He would respect every office holder and never let any occasion of complaint arise. The martyred was a Musi. Similarly, he had a keen enthusiasm for tabligh, for preaching, and he was also enabled to get someone to do the Bai'at, to convert to Ahmadiyyat. After his martyrdom in the hospital and after, at the time of his funeral, a large number of people from his office attended. every single one of us praise his high moral standards. One of his colleagues, who remained with his body, said, whilst weeping and crying continuously, that the martyred was a very loving person who was inclined towards bringing accord and reconciliation. Many times when we would get angry during the work, he would counsel us to patience. His officers informed that Zahoor Ahmad Kiani was a very courageous officer, willing to lay his life down for the line. He would win over everyone with his personality. Today we have been deprived of a very good colleague. His father-in-law, Bashir Kiani Sahib, informed that the martyred would help all of his relatives in his family. Allah had enabled him to be well off financially, so that whenever there was any need in his family, he would help them. Apart from his family, he would also help those who came to his house who would never leave empty-handed. He would treat children with great kindness and love. He would always fully take care of their needs. He would always be concerned for their education and would very deeply supervise them. His wife said that Allah had bestowed them with such a kind and good heart that perhaps it was given for this martyrdom. He would never reprimand the children. He says that before the martyrdom he said to me that clean my shoes, I am just coming back. Then he smiled and came down or out. He says after the attack, when she came outside with the children and saw him, then he smiled and saw me and the children in that state of being injured, as if he was saying farewell, and then gave himself up to the true Creator. He would never say anything to the children, but when my Friday sermon would come from here on MTA, he would always say to the children, why did you not listen to the sermon? And he would be angry if they did not. He would make sure of this. He had a very special relationship of love and kindness with his daughters. He leaves behind in his family his wife Tahira Zahoor Kiani Sahiba, and apart from her 3 sons and 4 daughters: Imran Kiani, 20 years old; Kamran Kiani, 14 years old; Safraz of 3 years old. Similarly, his daughters Nur Sabah, 16 years old; Nurolan, 14 years old; Atiyatul Mujib, 7 years old; and Faika Zahoor, 5 years old. May Allah the Almighty elevate the station of the deceased and keep his children and his wife in his protection. And may Allah the Almighty enable them to bear this loss with...
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر.
اللهم صل